Hi, this is John Terhune. I'd like to welcome you to Life-Changing Thoughts. Today's life-changing thought focuses on the subject of attitude and is entitled, Do What You Don't Want to Do with Enthusiasm. I remember when I was a much younger man. I was a young father and I had teenage children. And I remember on occasion I'd have them doing some chores around the house, and I remember a couple times their response being, Dad, I don't want to do that. And I remember my response to them always being the same. What does wanting to do something have anything to do with doing it? And I would convince them, and ultimately they would head on and do their chores, because I was teaching them a lesson, and that is this. Successful people don't do things simply because they want to do them. They do things because what they need to do needs to be done to be able to further their mission, to be able to help them make progress towards their goals, dreams, ambitions, basically checking off things in life that they need to do that are important to their life. That's how successful people think, and that is the attitude that successful people bring to their game. It just so happens that I am an attorney at law. For those of you that understand the process, after 4 years of college, you then go through 3 years of very rigorous academic competition in law school. And it is difficult. It is something that will test not only your mental capacities, but also your physical capacities. It is a tough 3 years followed by the bar exam. I didn't want to go through that process, but that's the process you had to go through to become a lawyer. So I took on that process with enthusiasm, and not only had a lot of great times during law school with a lot of tremendous friends and some great accomplishments that I was able to accomplish as a result of very hard work, but bottom line, it turned me into a great lawyer because I embraced the process. I embraced it with enthusiasm even though I didn't want to do it. I have a number of friends that are physicians. If you're familiar at all with the process of becoming a physician, you know that that is a very difficult process. It takes almost a decade. Many of those years you're not making any money. Many of those years you are basically physically exhausted. I don't know any doctor that wanted to go through that process. I know doctors that wanted to be doctors, and they knew they had to go through that process, so they took it on with enthusiasm, and as a result of it, they not only gained the great knowledge that they needed to be great doctors, but they had a fantastic experience along the way because they transitioned something they didn't want to do into something that they were going to do with enthusiasm. As you get to know me, you'll start to understand I'm very disciplined, and I take great pride in a number of areas in my life, not the least of which is my physical conditioning. Even at 63 years old, I go to the gym 5 days a week and work out between 90 minutes and 2 hours each day. I take great pride in that, but I will tell you that when the alarm clock goes off in the morning at 5:30, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to, particularly in the wintertime when it's a little bit cold and the bed is really nice and warm. My mind is telling me, I don't want to do this today. But then the other part of my mind always tells me, because it's my attitude that's driving this, what does wanting to do it have anything to do with it? You need to do it because it's going to further your mission of not only living a long life, but living a long life with high quality, and it's going to happen as the result of you day after day after day taking yourself through a process of discipline and through a process of exercise that is going to keep you in much better shape than the average person. And as the result of my attitude kicking in, I'm willing to do day after day after day after day what I don't want to do, and I do it with enthusiasm, and it becomes the highlight of my day as I finish that 90 minutes to 2 hours. Just remember this. The average person is going to default, and when it comes to something that they need to do but they don't want to do it, they most likely are going to procrastinate, and they're going to push it off, or they're not going to do it at all, or they're going to do a really half-baked job on what it is they need to do because they don't want to do it. As you listen to more and more life-changing thoughts, you will hear a concept come. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about attitude, leadership, people skills, or team building. You're going to hear me talk a lot about the concept of the separation factor. That basically means that you take a look at the habits and the behaviors and the attitudes of the average people around you. And if you don't want to get average results, then you've got to get much better habits and behaviors and attitudes than they are. And as the result of that, you will separate your results from the results of the average person. I can tell you right now, don't be the average person when it comes to doing something based on whether or not you want to do it. Highly successful people are driven by their attitude, and their attitude is default on the area when it comes to you doing what you need to do and doing it with enthusiasm. Because when you change the doing what you have to do and then wondering if you want to do it to changing it to doing what you need to do and then doing it with enthusiasm, you'll be astounded. You will stop procrastinating. You will do things all out. You will be different than the average person, and you will get extraordinary results in your life. So today's lesson, do what you don't want to do and do it with enthusiasm every single time.